So as a result, thank you, Sue. So as a result of COVID, we started meditating online every day with a program called Alone Together. And so a lot of the people here in this community have been coming into Zooms with us every week for since March 2020, basically. So if this is your first time, I would like to assure you, you're in very good hands. We've been doing this a while now, and we get so much. The reason we keep coming back is because it works. Meditation works if you do it. It doesn't work so well if you're reading about it or thinking about it or talking about it, but it really works when you do it. And that's why we've all kept coming back over and over. And I know Sue has been continuing with the meditations, Sue Cooper, and Sarah has too with her Awakening Wednesdays. So it's brilliant to be part of Feast for the Soul now that we're bringing all these communities, cross-pollinating, and going into this beautiful silence together, and just going in with no expectation and just coming out, hopefully feeling a bit better or a little refreshed or renewed. So I'm going to ask you all to mute yourselves before we get going, if you don't mind.
Susie, you need to unmute there.
Thanks for that. I accepted the muting there from Sue. So yeah, we'll all go into the practice together, and there'll be time at the end that you can connect when the recording stops, and you can share something about yourself or your experience of the feast so far, or anything that seems relevant to what we're doing today. So if this is your first time, just follow my guidance. We'll be meditating for about 20-25 minutes. So just follow my voice. You can have your eyes open or closed, but just try to, put away all of the distractions now, things like your phone, or, if you need to kind of close the door or sort out the temperature of the room, you should do that now, ideally. And as you can see from our chat here, we have an amazing group of people meditating together. We're on 99, which is a pretty cool number. And from all over the world, from the US, Canada, Europe, the UK, and Ireland. So now that you've taken care of your environment and whatever you need to support you in the practice, the next thing we want to do is make sure that you're all super comfortable, because comfort is key with meditation. So just don't be afraid to change your position if you feel like you've chosen something and it's kind of making you grimace on your face or something. Just always remember, comfort is key. So relax wherever you are. Sit easy on your chair, ideally with your spine upright, but you don't have to hold it poker straight. You can soften a little bit, soften your belly, your shoulders, your rib cage, and just soften your body into your seated position. Ideally not crossing the body anywhere, so your hands are resting lightly on your lap, your feet are flat on the floor if you're sitting in a chair, or if you're cross-legged, just adjust yourself appropriately. Okay, wow, this looks like a beautiful group of people to be practicing with today. So today I would love to honor the beautiful master Zen Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed on the 22nd of January, a couple of days ago. And he was just such a beautiful soul. And today I'm going to just recognize him at the end of the practice. I'm going to read something that was written by him. So I'd love you, if you're familiar with him, bring him his face. He's got a very beautiful, peaceful face. If you want to bring that to mind. And, he passed away there in Vietnam at the age of 95, and he really left his mark as a beautiful, peaceful warrior. He really was committed to peace, and I think that's what our commitment could be for today's practice, is let's commit to being peaceful today. There's choice points in every moment where we can react to a situation and we can bring our fighter, we can fight our corner. We can certainly go and hide and not deal with it, or we have different responses in different moments. But if we consciously choose peace in the moment, it can really transform situations. And it's a practice. We're not always getting it right. Don't be under any illusion that I'm like Mrs. Peace over here. I'm not, but I definitely make it a practice. And I really do try. And I think there's beautiful inspiration to be drawn from somebody like Thich Nhat Hanh, because, when you read his readings or listen to his talks, it really sort of settles your nervous system. And that's what we're doing now in this practice. We're going to settle our nervous system and come into a state of peace. And so we'll have that kind of subtle intention that we're rippling that peace out into the world. And so we'll begin today's practice mindfully, by becoming aware of how we're breathing. So once you're settled now and you've put down your drinks and made the adjustments, I invite you just to observe your breath as it is in its natural state. You can ask yourself, how am I breathing? Now, you're not trying to do anything with the breath, you're just observing it as it is. So you can notice what's going on. Is it loud or is it faint? Is it fast or slow? Is it uneven or thready? And again, with this practice, we're not going to try to alter the breath. We're just observing it in its natural state. And for this practice, what we're going to notice is if our attention gets, distracted from the breath, maybe we start going into thoughts in our mind or a sensation in your body, or perhaps a sound in the environment is distracting you from the practice. All you have to do is just bring your attention back to the focus of the practice for the first few minutes, which is the breath awareness of just how you're breathing naturally. So I'll be quiet now so you can feel your breath. Feel how it feels. Where do you feel it? Notice any other sensations with your breath. What's the temperature or the sound of the breath? And now observe any subtle movement in your body, which is as your breath is coming in and going out with each inhale and exhale. And that's all we're doing now. We're simply observing our breath, coming back, noticing the subtleties of each breath. And now that we're connected with our breath, we're going to consciously take one long, slow, deep breath in together. So we'll do it mindfully, breathing, if it's comfortable, through your nose. And imagine the breath as a color going in as you breathe in through your nose. It's coming down as if you were filling a balloon. You're just filling yourself up with whatever color you gave the breath. Pause when you feel it's full enough and then begin to release the breath. Maybe it changes color as you exhale. And then returning to your natural breath. You can notice now when you're breathing naturally that you're just observing the breath again. And maybe there's some settling down with your breath. Maybe it's deepening naturally on its own. And this is the practice. It's simply breathing in and out naturally, not trying or forcing or concentrating. And now we'll become aware of the sounds in the environment. If you can notice the sounds that are far away, in the distance outside of the building that you're in, or the car, wherever you are. What's the furthest sound away from you that you can hear now? And then bring your attention closer, maybe to the room that you're in. And notice the sounds that are just continuing in the background, remembering that sound will never be a barrier for your practice. And we're going to have the intention today with this practice to generate the energy of peace and compassion in a very mindful way. And we're going to honor the beautiful teacher Thich Nhat Hanh with our practice today, taking our guidance from him to be more peaceful, to resolve, to live peacefully. So let's connect in the heart space now, which is the area around your chest, where your heart is protected by your lungs and your rib cage. We'll do a heart-centered breath for a few minutes next. So you're moving your attention from the external world now, bringing it with a more internal focus, connecting with that field of energy in your heart. And everybody's heart has the inherent qualities of love, compassion, peace, and kindness. So let's see if we can feel the peace within ourselves. We all have that peaceful part. What does peace feel like in your heart now? Feel the quality of love in your heart. What does the heart filled with love feel like? And then let's move into the quality of compassion. Feel if the quality of compassion is bubbling up within you now by your intention and attention. So we've been feeling peace and love and compassion. And whichever one feels more appropriate for you, stay with whichever quality you feel guided towards naturally. And we'll give the quality maybe a color if you're visual, or maybe we'll just stick with the sensation. But the intention now is to increase the quality of love, peace, or compassion within you. And then bringing to mind some area, maybe it's a challenge or a relationship, or maybe it's a physical location somewhere in the world that would really benefit from the ripple effect of more love, more peace, or compassion. Just take a few moments to decide where you're going to send that quality from your heart. Maybe it's a person, a place. And once you've made that connection, allow the quality now to ripple from you by consciously sending the quality of love or peace or compassion by maintaining your attention and focus on the quality at your heart center. And if nothing is coming to mind, we'll just send it up for the teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, who transitioned recently. To his community, to his family. And however you become distracted, maybe it's a sound or a thought or sensation, just come back, connecting with your heart center, connecting with the quality of your choosing, and rippling that out to somewhere or someone or something that will benefit. We're going to transition into a mantra now. To continue this practice, we'll use the mantra, I am peaceful. I am peaceful. So for the next few moments, simply repeat the mantra silently to yourself. I am peaceful. I am peaceful. The repetition is gentle and relaxed. You don't have to force it or concentrate hard. Just allow the words of this mantra, I am peaceful, to bubble up in your awareness and then softly fade out. And then allowing it to come back up again. I am peaceful. And now we'll transition to the next mantra. I am loving. Again, it's a gentle, silent repetition. I am loving. I am loving. And if you get distracted, just keep coming back with your gentle attention. I am loving. And letting that one go. The last part of the mantra practice today is I am compassionate. I am compassionate. Again, the repetition of the mantra is gentle, relaxed. Just allow it to bubble up as effortlessly as a fog over a still lake at dawn. I am compassionate. I am compassionate. I am compassionate. And allowing the mantra, I am compassionate, just to fade out into the distance. And just bask here in this beautiful stillness, silence. Imagine how you're sitting at the edge of a beautiful still lake and it's dawn. The lake is really still and serene. Imagine you're breathing in the qualities of the lake, the qualities of the mantra. I am peaceful. I am loving. I am compassionate. And now that you've filled yourself up with those beautiful qualities and you've sent them out to wherever you feel you could direct them, I'm going to begin to bring the meditation to a close by sharing some words by Thich Nhat Hanh. So if you want to stay with your eyes closed and just listen, this is an excerpt from some writing he did called Dying to Be Me. He writes, "The day my mother died, I wrote in my journal, a serious misfortune of my life has arrived. I suffered for more than 1 year after the passing away of my mother. But one night, in the highlands of Vietnam, I was sleeping in the hut of my hermitage, and I dreamt of my mother. I saw myself sitting with her, and we were having a wonderful talk. She looked young and beautiful, her hair flowing. It was so pleasant to sit there and talk to her, as if she had never died. When I woke up, it was about 2 in the morning, and I felt very strongly that I had never lost my mother. The impression that my mother was still with me was very clear. I understood then that the idea of having lost my mother was just an idea. It was obvious in that moment that my mother is always alive in me. I opened the door and I went outside. The entire hillside was bathed in moonlight. It was a hill covered with tea plants, and my hut was set behind the temple halfway up. Walking slowly in the moonlight through the rows of tea plants, I noticed my mother was still with me. She was the moonlight caressing me as she had done so often, very tender, very sweet, wonderful. Each time my feet touched the earth, I knew my mother was there with me. I knew this body was not mine, but a living continuation of my mother and my father and my grandparents and great-grandparents, of all of my ancestors. Those feet that I saw as my feet were actually our feet. Together, my mother and I were leaving footprints in the damp soil. From that moment on, the idea that I had lost my mother no longer existed. All I had to do was look at the palm of my hand, or feel the breeze on my face, or the earth under my feet, to remember that my mother is always with me, available at any time. So just basking in the beautiful words of a beautiful Zen master, the pioneer who brought Buddhism and mindfulness to the West. Connecting with that part of yourself. Let's finish the practice by taking a long, slow breath in together. And let the whole practice go now. Begin by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Maybe gently move your head from side to side. Just feel the qualities of the practice that we now share together. You know, the peace, the love, the compassion. Let's take our hands out to the side and open wide. Feel how expanded our hearts can be when we choose it. It's a choice. Exhale, take the hands up if that's good for you into a nice prayer position, taking your hands down, pressing the back of your thumbs if you can against your heart center. Inherent in everybody's heart are the qualities love and peace, compassion. We just have to remember to connect back into this part regularly. I now invite you to take your fingertips to your forehead, take a bow. Take a bow to yourself for this beautiful act of self care, which no doubt will reap lots of benefits for you and all of those that you share your life with. And then look up and look at the beautiful community that you have shared this practice with, this sacred opportunity of stillness and silence. And like, what a gift is that? Do whatever it takes to come gently out of your practice. We always come out nice and slow. You can rub your hands together, cup them over your eyes, or whatever feels gentle and easy for you to come out nicely. But when you think about a life like Thich Nhat Hanh, or Thay as his students referred to him, which was the Vietnamese, I believe, for teacher, he really committed to nonviolence. He was a spiritual leader, he was a poet, a peace activist, and he was known for his powerful teachings and writings on mindfulness and peace. And when you've just come and done a beautiful, like the breath awareness practice is a mindfulness practice, and we really committed to peace in our practice today. Thich Nhat Hanh was a gentle, humble monk, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called him an apostle of peace and nonviolence when he nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize. So, it does mean that we all have to become the next Thich Nhat Hanh, but we can definitely embody some of the qualities that he left behind, the footsteps that he's left behind, the impressions. And I'd love to stop the recording now. And if anyone has anything they'd like to share in relation